That makes sense for you at home. Take the feet apart. Oh, grab your blocks. Je m'excuse. Blocks tall. So many of you may prefer just sort of like a medium range stance for triangle. That's certainly my preference. I don't prefer a really, really wide stance. So I take a narrower stance than I do for a warrior pose, but I'll leave that up to you. Please start with your hands on your hips and your blocks tall. If you have two blocks, just one behind each ankle is sufficient. Turn your left toes in. Turn your whole right leg out from deep within the hip. Front heel lining up with the back arch. Okay, the hips have spun a little bit to the right, all good. But I want you to lift the frontal hip bones up. We did that a lot last week. Creating that upright position of the pelvis. It's going to serve us well again today. Keep your hands on your hips as you shift the pelvis to the left. You may feel that journey of the hip bones, right? That sideways journey. But can you continue to encourage them to actually lift up to your chest to create more length through the low back and the tailbone? And then place your right hand down onto your block, the tall block. Keep your left hand on your hip for a moment. And with your right hand, I want you to imagine you are dragging your block back to your left heel. And with that, encourage the right shoulder blade away from your neck and your right shoulder away from your neck. Lengthen out through the neck and the crown of the head as you drag that shoulder back. Now with your left hand, slide it up towards your ribs. Yeah, right at the top. And with your left hand, encourage your top ribs to move down towards the floor so that the bottom right ribs lengthen out a little bit more. So you find that evenness through both sides. We tend to kind of pop those ribs up. Let them melt into your body with the reference of that hand. And then slowly extend that left arm up. Without the ribs following, with the ribs melting in, bottom ribs lengthening towards the crown of your head, right shoulder and shoulder blade moving back, as if to slide the block back towards your left heel. Now, last thing, without losing any of that, can you press off your block with your right hand and turn your abdomen, ribs, and chest a little bit further to the left? Don't take your right shoulder or shoulder blade with you. Think you move your block closer to your left foot, physically closer, even further back. Back. There. Now see if you can move your shoulder back more. Yes. Then lean back, baby. Lean back. You got that block there. It's holding on. That's it. One more breath. So then now try putting your hand on the block just for today. So you can bring it closer to your left foot. And see if you can drag that right shoulder back more. Yes. Okay, press into both feet. Inhale, bring yourself back up. And turn your feet to parallel, bring your hands back onto your hips. So other side, turn your right toes in, turn your left leg out from deep within the hip again, heel to arch alignment, with your hands on your hips. So again, you'll notice they're kind of spinning to the left. Lift them up. So as you go, think of the hip bones still drawing up towards your chest, lifting, so the tailbone's lengthening. So as you come sideways, this is creating length through the front of the body to balance the length of the back of the body. And then we'll work on balancing both sides. So hand down to the left hand down to the block, right hand still on your hip. Again, with your left hand, imagine you were sliding the block back towards your right heel. And as you do that, draw your left shoulder back. Left shoulder blade even back. Slide your right hand onto your ribs on the top, the right ribs, and actually physically press them down. This will sort of move your ribs closer to your hip. And with that, lengthen the left ribs more. Keep that as you send the right arm up. So the ribs don't follow. Ribs continue to melt into the body. The left side lengthening out, crown of the head lengthening out. We're seeking that same relationship between crown of the head and pelvic floor, which requires evenness through all four sides. Continue to draw your left shoulder and shoulder blade back to your right heel and work on turning. Belly, ribs, chest to the right. Maybe even the gaze will follow. Very nice. Take another full breath here. And then push into both feet, bring yourself back up, turn your feet to parallel, and we'll step or jump